Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Indosim Esports Network for the next instalment of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Tonight is round 9, and we stay in America after being at Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway last week. Now we come across back to ovals at Homestead Miami Speedway for 134 laps. Joining me in the booth tonight, as always, is Paul Jackson. How are you tonight, Paul?
Doing pretty good tonight. Yeah, good to be back in the hot seat once again. And tonight we're actually joined by a special guest and one of the guys that helps run the series, Raymond Yeager. So welcome, Raymond.
Hey, cheers for having me, guys.
No worries, mate. Good to have you in here. Sorry not to see you out there turning some laps tonight. Fifth in the championship coming into this round. We had a few hardware issues this week, we hear, so unfortunate you can't be involved in the race tonight, but really good to see you in the box with us.
Yeah, disappointing not to be out there. I love Homestead. It's a really great track with these cars, but yeah, the wheels died, so missed this one, and I'll hopefully be back next week.
Yeah, let's hope so. But 134 laps around Homestead Miami Speedway. Before we just check in with the practice times, we'll run through the people that make this possible for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Obviously, the naming rights sponsor of Ray White Rural Gander. Jump on to all their socials and follow them. Witcher Electrics, also Justin Witcher, the leader of this championship. Jump on and support him if you're down there in the Victoria/Melbourne region. And also AP Esports, jump on their page and have a look at them and get amongst that as well. But guys, 134 laps tonight. Aaron Dillon currently setting the pace in practice with a best time of 32.6. Close behind him in seconds, Darren McKenzie with a 32.63 and Gary Wellman with a 32.69. The times are close at the top, as always, in this series, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of the same tonight.
And yeah, as we go through, so I mentioned 134 laps tonight with 75% fuel, only one set of tyres, no fast repairs, and one green-white checker. Homestead Miami is 1.5 miles or 2.41 kilometres, and race time's 8 p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. in the real world, so looking forward to this one. We won't be far off practice at the moment. They're still the same currently in practice with Aaron Dillon, Darren McKenzie and Cade Donnelly currently leading the way in the top three. They're getting a little bit into each other in practice, as you can see there, gentlemen. Hopefully we don't see a sign of this in the race, but then they get this all out early in practice.
It's always a bit sketchy in practice. Everyone's pushing as hard as they can and trying to find their limits. So, yeah, I expect to be a little bit calmer in there come race time.
Well, Raymond, because it's your first time in the hot seat as our special guest tonight, we're going to throw you straight under the bus. Paul and I always, before we go into the race, have our tip on who we think's going to come away with the W. So we'll throw you in the hot seat, as I said. And who is your tip to take home the spoils tonight?
Oh, geez, easing me in nicely. Farah, wow. I mean, Justin's always up the front, and obviously he's my teammate, so I should probably just go for him. But, there's a lot of guys that are really quick in these cars. Aaron Dillon, obviously reigning champion. He's really mastered the ovals. He'll be right up there. Sam Katakazinas, really good. But, yeah, I think I'll just go with Justin. He's leading the championship for a reason.
And Paul will follow it up with your tip, mate.
Well, tonight I think wrapping a new paint there for Southern Stars esports racing team. I'm going to have to go with Adam Malone, I think.
That's a pretty good choice there, Paul. Adam Malone. I'm probably going to go, you could call it a safe bet, but you never know in the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. I believe it is going to be one of the Sim Boys cars, and I'm going to put my bet on... Let's have a look at that. Oh, who's it going to be? Troy Davidson.
Cool. So quite a bit of a mix-up on picks tonight, besides Raymond playing the safe card there, as we all probably would have liked to have picked Justin, as we know he's had some great results in the last few rounds there. But we're now moving on to qualifying, so we'll see what everyone sets here.
Yeah, we will, but real quickly before we cover that qualifying, Raymond, you do realise that's the commentator's curse, mate. That's what you've just done.
That was half the reason I picked him, to be honest. I'm getting sick of him outshining me each week, mate,
Method to your madness, you reckon?
That's it, mate, that's it.
All right, well, currently, ladies and gentlemen, we see the 06 of Ruben Phelps from Aussie Esports out on track at the moment. Out there early, trying to bank a lap. Aaron Dillon was out there just before. He's just set a purple sector in the second sector of this racetrack. It'll take a little while for these guys to start dropping their times. You see the Simboys car there, the 013 of Aaron Dillon. We'll see how he ends up as he comes across the line, gents, but I have to look at practice. It's going to be very, very tight at the top.
Yeah, it's always really tight time-wise in qualifying with these cars. It's usually good, though. It makes for great racing, obviously.
And there's the man of the moment, Pete Matson from Ray White Rural Gainer, the major sponsor of the series. You can see on your screens at the moment setting his times, but now the times are starting to drop, guys. So Aaron Dillon's gone to the top, followed by Ruben Phelps, Troy Davidson, Christopher Finlay. We won't give you the times currently because they are going to drop really quick and change really, really fast. So Aaron Dillon currently, after his first lap, setting the benchmark. Ruben Phelps not far behind. Half the field has dropped their first lap. They'll all be going on to their second laps at the moment. Now, Raymond, I can't remember, was qualifying mandatory in this league?
No, so basically you don't have to qualify, but if you want to get any of our bonus points for leading a lap, no incidents and those sorts of things, then you need to set a qualifying lap.
Yeah, that makes sense. I should have known the answer to that question after 8 rounds, but that's okay. We'll get there. But it looks like Cade Donnelly has just gone to the top with a 32.66. Simboys Racing, second place Aaron Dillon. Another Simboys Racing, 32.86. Gary Wellman with a 32.7. So the usual suspects up the top. Sorry, got the wrong times there, guys. 32.66, 32.68 and 32.70. Ruben Phelps not far behind there in fourth with a 32.71. Troy Davidson, my pick up there in P5 with a 32.74. So as we expected, the times are really, really tight at the top.
Yeah, those Simboys have got these supercars on ovals figured out, man. Like, they are always up the front, always consistent. Really, really great team.
Yeah, they are strong in ovals in the supercar. They're actually not bad on the road as well. On the road courses, they have had some solid results in this series so far. Sam Katakazunos has just jumped up into P7 with a 32.85. Sam's had a couple of unlucky runs lately. I'm sure he'll be looking to improve that tonight. Also, Greg Spencer had a great one last night in another series with an unfortunate end with about 10 laps to go up there in P8 with a 32.87. Justin Witches there in 10th, Raymond, your pick with a 32.91. We'll check where Adam Malone is currently. Adam Malone's down in 20th. Your pick there, Paul, with a 33.32. So not sure whether he is playing a little bit of mind games at the moment to set a slow time and start at the back and make his way through.
You'd think if he was doing that, he would have set a bit slower. So I don't know. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Witches just jumped to P2 there, so couldn't quite get the job done on Cade Donnelly.
Yeah, very close there, Paul. Justin Witcher up to second with a 32.67. So if you have a look at the top three currently, which is Cade Donnelly, Justin Witcher and Aaron Dillon, it's 32.66, 32.67 and 32.68 respectively. So very tight at the top, but then it's only 200ths or thousandths of a second back to Gary Wellman with a 32.7. And then there's Ruben rounding out your top five with a 32.71. It doesn't look like there's many more drivers to set their lap times at the moment, as we've got about 30 seconds left into qualifying. Sam Katakazunos, as you can see on screen, has set his lap and he's ready to go racing for 134 laps. We'll see him start out of the 8th starting position.
Yeah, no, Ruben. Just want to point out him. He's in the last, I don't know, month or so. He's really sort of figured these cars out. He's always struggled to really run well in the V8 on ovals. Like, he's obviously really great in like the cup cars and trucks and things like that. But seems to have figured out the V8 now as well. So that's good to see.
Yeah, good to see. I'm a little bit biased as he's my teammate, but good to see him having a good run. Hopefully he has a solid run tonight. Actually, hopefully the whole field has a solid run and we see a nice, clean 134 laps around Homestead Miami Speedway. But Paul, we'll get you to bring up that starting order and we'll run through them. So taking pole for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries and starting off that front row will be Cade Donnelly. On the outside will be Justin Witcher out of P2. Inside of the second row and third position will be Aaron Dillon. On the outside of him, Gary Wellman. Ruben Phelps will lead the third row of the grid. On the outside of him, Troy Davidson in 6th. Darren McKenzie will start out of the 7th position with Sam Katakuzanos out of 8. Greg Spencer in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Dave Trevathan. Starting out of the 11th position will be Nigel Payton from Pinnacle Esports, and I'll just mention that Greg Spencer is part of Pinnacle Esports as well. And P12, Andy Barber. Paul?
And row 7, we got Christopher Finlay and Peter Matson, Jackson Callow and Dwayne Priest on row 8. Row 9, Tom Pritchard and Evan Horswell. Stephen Williams making his return after only having run one race, I believe, this season. So good to see Stephen back on the track there. And Adam Malone rounding out the top 20. Shannon Wright in P21 with Todd Baxfield P22. John Quass in P23, and Brett Campbell, who's also repping a new livery tonight, the Bundaberg Bear paint, in P24 there.
And as we keep rolling through, out of the 25th starting position will be Ian Quass. On the outside of him in 26th position will be Derek Jacobs out of the United States of America. Always good to see you, Derek, when you watch this back. So thanks for joining again. Terry Warwood will take the 27th starting position. And that looks like Jamie Nankervis will be out of 28 and Michael Shaw will round out the field in 29th there, Paul.
Definitely. So, who did you have your pick on? Was it Troy Davidson there, Aidan?
Yeah, it was. Troy Davidson was my pick.
Yeah, so your pick starting out of P6 there, and obviously Raymond's pick starting out of P2, and my pick out of P20, I believe. So we're scattered through the field tonight, so we'll see what our picks can do. But everyone tuning in and watching on the Intersim Esports Network, get your picks in the chat there, and we'll give them a call out. So looks like Steve Hoppett's going for Ruben Phelps there. So we'll see how Ruben goes through the night there, Stephen.
Pretty solid pick there, Stephen, so good pick. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, and all the viewers, if you are tuning in to us at the Intersim Esports Network, be sure to tune in to us on Facebook or Twitch or even YouTube if you feel the need. So you can watch us across all those 3 platforms, but we will see Cade Donnelly bring us to the green for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Homestead Miami Speedway. Justin Witcher, the leader of the championship, on the outside of the front row. It is definitely a Sim Boys first 3 rows. The 4 cars, their 4 cars are taking the top 6 starting positions, but we're about to go green. It will be on the green, and Cade Donnelly takes the green flag for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Justin Witcher getting a big push on the outside there by Gary Wellman as we go into turn 1. Raymond, you see what it's like from a broadcast point of view. We're already nearly going 3 wide. Sam Kay wanted to take that 3 wide through turn 1 and 2, but those Sim Boys are definitely going to work together early to try and get in front of Justin Witcher. So if I was Ruben Phelps or Sam Kay at the moment, I'd be trying to get in behind those guys and work with them. But nice clean start by the drivers, and there's the mugshot of Justin right there as you see him. Looks like that high line is working pretty well at the moment. It is definitely a 2-groove racetrack in these race cars, so it's not going to be for the faint-hearted tonight, guys.
No, I'd say this track, all 3 grooves really work. You can run through the middle, the top end, and the bottom. So I expect to see a fair bit of 3-wide action tonight, to be honest.
Let's hope so, as looks like a couple of them at the back there are definitely looking to take this 3-wide, nearly 4-wide down the back straight for lap 2 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, but they've all aired on the side of caution there and pulled it all back in. We're 2 wide. It still looks like we're on the roll-up laps just about 200 kilometres faster. So great driving by all the drivers at the moment.
Yeah, so far nice and clean, and as you said, 2 wide basically the whole way through the field. They were just about to go 4 wide there. That's a bit crazy, but
Yeah, you'd be seeing a lot of different action here, Raymond. You're used to being in the cockpit, so you don't get to see some of that other stuff that's happening either in front of you or behind you. But we're going 4-5 wide. People are under the apron down the back straight. They realise it's 134 laps. Who was that? Steve Williams getting in amongst it, jumping up in behind the Simboys car of Kate Donnelly, I believe that is there. Who was that getting low on the inside, trying to keep up at the moment? That's a really good paint job I saw there too in that DeWalt car. I like the look of that one.
There's a few nice looking cars out there in this field, but look at this, 3-4 wide through the corners. So they're doing a great job to keep the cars like off each other. So really good racing so far.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Raymond. Very good racing. It'll be interesting as the race pans out whether tyre wear becomes an issue. I don't believe it will be a big issue. Draft is probably more so the issue in these cars. It's very, very even as we see Ruben Phelps there wanting to take the lead of this motor race to get that extra point. He's firing it right up the inside of Justin Witcher at the moment. He's going to want a big push on the inside there by Darren McKenzie. Looks like they've got that, and both Darren and Ruben have cleared Justin Witcher to take first and second in this motor race. There's another driver on the inside there trying to chime into this as well. So no sooner do we blink, 5 laps in, we've already had a change for the lead.
Yeah, I'd expect a fair few lead changes tonight. As you said before, the draft is pretty significant in these cars, and these boys aren't shy about trying to get to the front.
Seems like Ruben might have been left out a little bit there as Darren McKenzie jumps to the lead with a bit of a push from Jackson Callow, now looking to jump into P2 there as well. Dwayne Priest just in the background there, and P4 moving up through the field, up 12 spots along with Jackson. So
yeah, Jackson
doing a good job.
Jackson's got to be a dark horse tonight. That guy, whenever he jumps in a car, he's always really quick. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes tonight.
But it's nothing unusual at the front, gentlemen, as you see Darren McKenzie leading this motor race. We do see Darren a lot of the time want to go hard at the start and lead from the front. He's not one that usually has that mentality to sort of sit there in the pack and let the race pan out. And as we see someone go in the background there, did that bring out a caution? Or did he save it? We did see a big moment for one of the drivers coming out of 2 there on the back straight. So doesn't look like there is a caution. But yeah, Darren McKenzie definitely does run early. But Paul, we might just jump back and grab a replay of that and see what happened.
Oh, huge moment.
Huge moment there. It looked like Dave Trevethan just got into the left-hand rear of the mobile car.
Oh, he's done real well.
Does he keep it off the wall? Looks like he's going to.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Until then. Until then. But that was a great job, and that didn't bring out the caution. So that's going to be a really, really tough night for him. But look at the gap Darren McKenzie's pulled on Ruben Phelps at the front there.
Yeah, it can happen in these cars. If the other boys don't sort of work together and you can sort of break that draft, you can start to put a bit of a gap on him. And Darren is very good at doing that. He's, as you said before, he doesn't like to sit in the pack too often. He likes to get out front. Sometimes he can use his tyres up and end up dropping back through the field. But yeah, he's a great driver.
Yeah, definitely is. Sometimes it doesn't go, the rub of the green doesn't go his way, but that's motorsport. We've all been there, done that, but he's definitely showing a clean set of heels at the front at the moment as we go into lap 10 of 134. Still a long way to go, but Raymond, fuel drop in these cars, we know the percentage of the fuel drop, but do you have an idea of how many laps around Homestead that they'll get out of a fuel tank, or unsure at the moment?
I haven't done any laps, but it's usually around 45, 46. So they should only really need to stop, twice? Yep, 2 stops based on that calculation, so 46. But look at this through the mid-pack here. We're still 2-3 wide racing. Justin Witcher's moved back a little bit at the moment. He's lost the gap there to Jackson Callow, Ruben Phelps and Dwayne Priest in front of him. So Justin's probably just sitting back there at the moment, but we've got 2 distinguished groups, 3 distinguished groups, but this third one is definitely all happening. They are everywhere. Who's that? We see Greg Spencer there on the inside as well. I saw him just on the inside behind
Not sure who it is. They seem to be catching the apron a little bit there out of 4 too.
Yeah, it does look that way. There's been a few cars down there right on the apron, so I don't know if that's making them turn better or if giving them better run out or something. I don't know, but there seems to be a lot of them doing it.
Yeah, a lot of them seem to be diamonding that corner as well, as we just saw in the images there. It really looked like they were diamonding. Anyway, I'll get that out. It looks like they are doing that through the corner. See, I got out of that one. But as we nearly had contact there between some of the drivers. There are so many drivers tonight, I'm struggling to catch up with who is who.
That was Terry through the middle there, almost got in contact with Wellman, but kept it off him, so we're all good still.
So if we have a look at the times, gents, Darren McKenzie, who now has 1.47 second lead, and that's slowly going out as well ahead of Ruben Phelps. Last lap was 33.66 for Darren as opposed to a 6.4 and 6.5 respectively for Ruben Phelps and Jackson Callow. So the pace differences seem to slow down at the moment now that those guys have got behind each other, but nice little gap there for Darren McKenzie early on in this race.
Yeah, doing the same time as the leader is not going to help you catch him, obviously. So Ruben and Jackson will want to start working together, I think, to try and bring that gap back.
Yeah, and as you say, that last lap again, Darren McKenzie's just gone 0.3 of a second quicker than the chasing group. So still making headway there at the front. If we have a look at some of the big gainers, have a look at this. We're only 14 laps into 134. We have Jackson Callow in third, up 12 spots from his starting position. Dwayne Preece up 12 spots. Stephen Williams up 14 spots. Terry Marwood up 19 spots after starting out of the 27th position in P8.
Yeah, that is one of the great things about this series, in my opinion, is you can just move up and down the field all night. Like, you can basically sit wherever you want. Like, you can pass, as I said before, especially on this track, all three lanes will work. So you saw Terry before work in the middle, and that's how you can sort of make up a ton of positions. And as you said, up 19, that's a great start for him.
Well, since we just concentrated on the big gainers, let's have a little bit of a look at the big losers. We have Justin Witcher down 13 spots after starting out of P2, back there in 15th. Kate Donnelly down 15 spots, now 16 spots, back to 17th. So some of those front guys that started at the pointy end of the field have moved their way back to the mid to rear pack of this field so far.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that's an actual tactic or if they're just struggling for, the longer-term speed or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I always struggle with this, and I come to grips with it as the race pans out, but I don't know if it's fuel, but from what you were saying with the amount of laps they get out of fuel, I'm not sure saving one or two here or there is going to make a massive difference, but hey, I'm always made to look like a fool, so I might again tonight. So Darren McKenzie, like we said, he's now jumped out to a 3.1 second lead from Jackson Callow, who's now taken P2 away from Ruben Phelps, and Dwayne Preece has now joined the party in behind him, gents.
The one thing I do know for sure is, obviously I said you get about 46 out of a tank of fuel, but I don't know what the tyre drop-off's like, and I do know that you will need a double stint a set of tyres, so potentially they're looking after their tyres now for that reason.
Yeah, so those drivers we just mentioned possibly through the first round of pit stops, hopefully we do them under green. Looks like they will be double stinting possibly the first pit stop, or the first two stints. So that'll be interesting, and that brings up a lot of game-changing moments because people are going to be on different strategies into the back end of the race. If we do stay green to the end, it'll definitely be interesting to call to see what happens in the last 30, 40 laps of this motor race.
Not sure what happened there, but Ruben's taken back over P2 and also Dwayne Preece moving up into P3 as Jackson Callow's fallen back. But just behind now, Steve Williams is joining the party here, so he's caught up to the back of P2, 3 and 4 here, so we've now got a 4-car little battle going on for the podium spots.
Not sure what happened there. Callow just did a 34 flat compared to everyone else's 33 threes, so not sure what happened there exactly. Yeah,
he might have been listening to our call, and he might be going on backing off, but Yeah, he's definitely a little bit slower. That lap dropped back into P5. Stephen Williams there's moved up into P4, and now he's having a look rather under Dwayne Priest down the main straight into 1 and 2. So don't be surprised we see Stephen Williams take the third spot of round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries very shortly, and that will put him up 16 spots on his starting position. It's a great start there by Steve. So 21 of 134, gentlemen, a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go. Looks like the action's starting to settle down a bit more and a little bit less of the 3 wide stuff. It seems to be mainly single file with a bit of 2 wide here and there. But yeah, it looks like we're set for a bit of a green flag stint here, which is always good to see.
And Stephen Williams, there we go again, up into P2. He's got the Darren McKenzie mindset. He started near the back and he is off, and he doesn't want to be in the mid of this pack. So he's now moved into P2 ahead of Ruben Phelps. Let's see whether he's got something for Darren and whether he can start clawing back that 4.1 second gap that Darren currently has. We'll go back and have a look. There are a few gaps. So the second gap between everyone, I think, is Terry Marwood. He is up into P6. So he's going to want to drag up onto the back of this front group if he can, but he's currently having a little bit of a lonely race early, but Terry's very wise and has done a lot of laps in iRacing, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry's a veteran, and he's a good driver, very good driver. He's good at planning out his races as well, so I'd expect him to be there or thereabouts towards the end as long as he stays out of trouble, which he hasn't been able to do in the last few weeks, unfortunately for him.
Well, we'll talk about something different because we do have a long race. So I just want to get your guys' opinion on what's coming up in iRacing and what's been dropped. So we just went through week 13. There was an update on iRacing, lot new tracks, cars, etc., etc. The update before they had the Mount Washington hill climb. Have you guys done any runs up that at the moment?
No, I haven't. It doesn't really interest me, to be honest, that one. But I see the attraction for others, but personally, not for me.
And what about, I've seen a lot that rain is coming to iRacing as well, and that may be, from what I can see, on the next patch update at the end of the year. I don't think it would matter. It's not going to matter much in the oval side of things, but are you excited to see rain come into iRacing?
Excited and scared. It's hard enough on a dry circuit, man. I can't imagine trying to turn right as well as left on when it's raining.
And it's not only the grip level, it's the visibility as well. So I'm really interested to see the realism that comes out of that update. When they eventually do drop it, it is definitely coming, but just when that's going to happen. Me personally, I'm really excited because I don't mind a little bit of a slippery track. It sorts the men out for the boys, as they say, even though this is a unisex platform. But yeah, excited for all that to come. So that's a little bit on iRacing, but back again, just a little shout out to the sponsors. Ray Wright Rural Gander, the naming rights sponsor. So if you are up there in the Sunshine Coast region at Gander and you're looking for property, whether it be real estate to buy or rent or even invest in, jump on to them and give them a call or get in contact with them through all the socials or on the web. Obviously, of course, Witcher Electrics. You can see on the screen there, Justin Witcher down in Victoria, Melbourne, Victoria. All your electrical works, I believe it's commercial, domestic, etc. So jump onto him if you're in the area and support the people that support us and AP Esports as well. Thank you for jumping on board. So, guys, Darren McKenzie still showing a clean set of heels at the front. He's 4.5 seconds now in front of Stephen Williams. The gap's slowly dropping, but it looks like Darren's created a nice little gap at the front. So he's got a 4.3 second lead. Ruben Phelps is not far there behind Stephen Williams. So he's going to want to push up on the back of Steve and get up onto the back of Darren. But it's going to take a little while to do that as they're already coming up on some lap traffic.
Yeah, Darren's just schooling him at the moment. He's still working that gap further out, like it's now at 4.5 seconds. So, yeah, he's really got it figured out tonight. He's doing a great job.
He definitely is. And if we were going to see tyre wear, we're at 29 laps in, we'd start to see a little bit of a sign of it now. So And we're just looking at live timing, so we're not sure on what he's feeling in the car. But if we were going to see a little bit of a drop-off in tyre wear, times from tyre wear, we'd probably start to see it around about now. And that doesn't look like the case so far, guys.
No, it doesn't look that way. Like, his times are pretty consistent. Like, he's pretty much doing 34 3s and 4s every lap. So it doesn't look like there's much drop-off yet. It'll be interesting. I guess where it'll be interesting is in the second stint on this set of tyres is whether he can last to that next pit stop. That's the question, I think.
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question that we have. So probably in the next 15 to 16 laps, we might see some people starting to blink and make their way down pit lane, and that's when the strategy is all going to play out right in front of us. But we'll keep you up to date with all that as we move along. Let's just go back and have a look at our picks for the night and see where they are. I know it's a long way to go, but we like to keep everyone up to date with where our picks are going. So Justin Witcher was your pick, Raymond, and he is down there in P15, so down 13 spots on his starting position, but we've discussed what we think his strategy is there. Adam Malone, which was your pick there, Paul, he is up 2 positions into 18th spot, so he might be doing the same thing Justin is at the moment. He doesn't seem to be pushing too hard. And Troy Davidson is down 4 spots, which was my pick, down to P10. So it's amazing how quickly this has been shuffled up in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, qualifying sort of meant nothing. All the guys that were up the front have sort of dropped back, and all the guys that were down the back are sort of up the front now. So yeah, it's interesting to see. As you said, I don't sort of see it from this side very often. I'm usually in the car, so it's interesting. It's a good watch. I like it.
Yeah, it is definitely different. We just saw the DeWalt car nearly go up into the wall. Hopefully he didn't grab that, because that wouldn't have helped him with outright car pace. I'm not sure who's driving that car at the moment, but we just saw that on the screen. Ian Quass has just gone a lap down. He was the driver that they were passing, I believe, in P26. So was John Quass there a lap down. Looks like Dave Trevathan is out of this motor race. He's 24 laps down, as well as Todd Maxfield. He's 12 laps down as well. So Dave Trevathan, that we saw with that earlier incident, doesn't look like he's come back out on track. And Todd Maxfield's had an incident there somewhere that we didn't quite see. So he's 12 laps down currently.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about Dave. That looked like a pretty big hit when he did go down to the inside fence there. So unlucky for him, but I'm sure he'll be back next week, and hoping for a bit better luck.
Yeah, you're only as good as your last one, but that's the pleasure about esports and anything you do in iRacing, especially the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, is you always come back next week and do your best. So, guys, what we might do, 35 laps into 134, we're about 10 laps away, I believe, for some of these guys to start blinking down pit lane. We might jump on board, as you see Darren McKenzie leading now, and let you guys hear the roar of the V8 Supercar for about 2 or 3 laps around Homestead Miami Speedway. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of laps around Homestead Miami Speedway, rather, in the V8 Supercar. A couple of different drivers there that we went on board with, so you saw a couple of different angles and a couple of different race battles throughout this pack at the moment, which is a massive pack. We had 29 starters for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. But as we go back live, gentlemen, have a look at that gap between Darren McKenzie and Ruben Phelps.
Yeah, it's out to 7 seconds now. I don't know how they're going to be able to bring this back. To be honest, they're going to have to hope his tyres go off big time.
Yeah, he must be feeling one with the car on the track at the moment, because that pace is crazy. He just put another 4/10 on Ruben last lap around, and now he's just lost another 10th to him, but that means nothing with 6.8 seconds, nearly 7 seconds ahead of this field. So really showing these guys how to drive a supercar around Homestead, Miami at the moment. But like you said earlier, Raymond and Paul, with these other guys on alternate strategies, I reckon around about lap 70 or 80, it's going to be interesting, and we're going to see whether this strategy for Darren is going to pay off.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, as you said, approaching that second pit stops where it's going to see what was the right way to go. But yeah, at this point, Darren's just controlling the race.
Yeah, it's his to lose currently, but we've got entering pit lane, exiting pit lane, all those penalties that can happen, everything that can happen through the pit stops. So there's a long way to go yet. But Raymond, since you're up helping us in the broadcast booth tonight, and thank you once again for jumping on. You didn't have to since you couldn't race tonight, so we really do appreciate it. But Ray Wright Rural Gander, the major sponsor of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, you run the Australasian Supercar eSeries with a couple of other gentlemen as well. So you would know all this information, or at least most of it, I'd suggest. But Ray White Rural Gander, Pete Matson, who runs that business, give us a little bit of background to Pete Matson, where you met him through the iRacing scene, how he got involved with the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and a little bit about his business.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know him that well, but I met him through racing, obviously, a few times with him. He's run with Ann's car a few times, and he's run with us regularly when he can. He really enjoys running these V8s on ovals. So that's pretty much what he approached us, asking if there was any way he could get involved and help us out. And as I said, it was mainly through the fact that he loves this sort of racing, and I mean, why wouldn't you? It's so close, it's action-packed. So yeah, obviously, yeah, he's helping us out. Got the naming rights sponsors, and we appreciate that. Obviously, major help. Wouldn't really be able to do it as easily without his help. So it's always good to see him out on the track as well. He's a very good competitor, a good driver, and that car looks really, really nice.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's a really clean paint job there for Pete Matson. But while we're on it, a little bit about Justin too. I know he's your teammate for Pinnacle Esports and runs Witcher Electrics. Just a little bit about him and his business he runs as well.
Yeah, so Justin, electrician down Ballarat area. Basically, pretty much the only reason he's sponsoring a series is because he's my teammate. So yeah, I mean, he enjoys the racing obviously as well, and he's very, very good at it, as proven by the fact he's leading the championship. So, but yeah, he's a great guy. Raced with him for, geez, it'll be getting close to a year now, I guess. It's always a good time.
Yeah, he's definitely a good steerer, and he didn't struggle. That's probably the wrong word to choose, but he's got a lot better in the oval scene over the last 6 to 8 months after being in not only the Activity Hub Bali team, but then the Pinnacle Esports team as well. But he's an absolute demon on road. He loves a road track as well. We have done a bit of racing in the 24-hour with him. I know you guys have, and done some road stuff. So he's a bit of a man of many trades, Justin.
Yeah, he goes well in no matter what he jumps in. So I wish I could do that, but yeah, he's a great driver, and as I said, better bloke. So that's the main thing. Well, I think Darren's about to come down pit lane.
All right, so we'll cross across to Darren McKenzie, 6.3 seconds in the lead of the race, and here he is jumping down pit lane. Let's see if he can get it stopped for the pit entry. Onto the limiter he goes, and he's made it in. So he is the first one to blink. to pit lane at the moment. Looks like John Quast is in the pits, but he was in the pits after an earlier instance. So Darren McKenzie, the first to blink. We'll see whether Ruben Phelps, Jackson Callow and Aaron Dillon try and cover that off, but there's not really anything to cover off because he had a 7-second gap at the front. So we'll see how long these guys in second, third, fourth, etc., how long they run this fuel stint or how much they can get out of this fuel stint.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I thought they'd be out of fuel now, so there must be a bit more laps in it than I thought there was. Interesting to see Darren the first one down the lane, though. I guess he's trying to stop any undercut that potentially was happening.
Well, there could be an undercut in the background because Steve Williams actually pitted on lap 40, so 7 laps earlier. So he could be trying to do a bit of an undercut there. He did fall off the back of Ruben and Jackson here a little bit as well. So Steve Williams currently back in P23 after his pit stop.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Steve is a bit of a genius with his strategy at times, so it'd be interesting to see how that one plays out.
I'm going to throw another strategy at you, gentlemen. Do you think, and this is a real out there strategy, do you think that Darren McKenzie would have taken his set of tyres and tried to do another 48 quick laps like he did and try and hold on in the final stint? I know we could have a yellow and there's all those anomalies that can come up in the motor race, but do you think that was an option?
I think for the fact that, yellow can come out at any time, I don't think he would have taken tyres there. It's a little bit early to be doing that, I think. You probably wouldn't want to get on the next set of tyres till probably lap probably 80, 85, something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty out there suggestion, but different things have been done. So
we can always go and have a look at Darren's pit stop anyway, and go back, have a look and see what he did.
Yep, we'll go back and have a look. So Darren McKenzie's pit stop with a 31.65 as opposed to a 26.4 of Stephen Williams, 31.8 of Gary Wellman and a 30.4 of Jamie Nankervis, which are the 4 drivers that would have transitioned through pit lane at the moment. Aaron Dillon and Christopher Finlay have blinked and jumped into the lane as well. So 5 seconds slower there for Darren McKenzie. So not sure where that 5 seconds comes from.
That'll be from Steve stopping 5 or 6 laps earlier, so he would have to put less fuel in the car, I'd say.
That would be it. That's why you are in the broadcast booth tonight, Raymond.
And just looking here, we're not going to be able to tell if he did take tyres or not because the car doesn't pop up side to side like a NASCAR does when they take tyres.
No, but I don't think he would have. As I said, I think it would be a bit of a really, really brave strategy to take tyres now.
I don't think he has, guys, because I'm looking at that relative of Darren and Steve in 19th and 20th at the moment. It's sort of sitting at around about that 4-second mark. So the relative gain there for Stephen Williams was well over 4 seconds because he wasn't. He was about 8 seconds behind. So, yeah, he's probably halved that gap at the front, and it looks like it's stagnated a little bit. They do have lap traffic and general race traffic to deal with, so we're going to see that fluctuate. But Ruben Phelps still staying out there with Jackson Callow, getting a lot of mileage out of this fuel tank. 53 laps now, we're into 134.
Yeah, it looks like I was a long way off with this 46 prediction. They're taking this out well long. Ruben's coming down the pit lane this lap, I believe.
Okay, so we'll watch the 06 of Ruben Phelps come down pit lane and
Callow came
Callow
with him and nearly got him.
Yeah, good driving by both drivers. Jackson wanted to make up as much time as he could on the entry to pit lane. That nearly come unstuck for him, but they both go down, so we'll see them come into their pit stalls. Hopefully it goes smoothly for them, no penalties, and they'll rejoin the race. But that means Andy Barber gets the extra point and takes the lead of this motor race.
Yeah, Jackson did really well there not to run into the back of Ruben, so good driving there. But yeah, Andy leading the race. He's been really good the last 5 or 6 rounds. He's sort of, struggled a little bit when he's new to the series, so first couple of rounds took him a bit of adjusting time, but he's settled in real quick and he's going well now.
Yeah, him and his family's got a little bit of a pedigree in motor racing in the real world as well. So I believe his son was on a race last night that I did. So really, really talented family. So a couple more races for Andy around these ovals in the different cars. We're going to see some stronger and stronger results from him. Well, we hope we do anyway. So great guy and great driver. So good job for Andy Barber being in P1 at the moment, but I'm sure he's going to be coming down pit lane this lap or next lap. I believe it's this lap by seeing him come across the apron.
Just listening to the radio, it looks like everyone's coming down this lap.
So there we go, guys. It looks like the 55 lap mark is the pointer of what you're going to get out of a tank of fuel. So in saying that if they can, that's going to take them through to lap 110 of 134. So if they're double stinting this first one, they're probably going to run this second stint as short as possible to jump on the new rubber.
Yeah, you'd expect a pit stop probably around lap, I guess, 90? No, 80, 85 at the latest. You want to get on the fresh rubber as soon as you can. So you'd expect it around 80, 81, 82, I think.
And here's Adam Malone coming into pit lane at the moment. Paul, your pick. So he's now come down pit lane. There's only one more driver, Derek Jacobs, to transition down pit lane. So a different strategy for Derek, our United States of America driver. So we will see how that pans out. But he's now in pit lane at the moment, I believe.
It was good to see Derek up the front. He's a great guy, really is. Always good to see him hanging around and racing with us. Obviously, time difference is pretty big, but he sticks here around with us and puts in. He's a great guy.
And I've just put the commentator's curse on him.
I was going to say, I think Derek might be on fumes there. He's just rolling and he wanted to lead that lap for a bonus point and he's run out of fuel. So he's just coasting back to pits there.
And I don't know if I'm seeing wrong, but I think I might be. The front right-hand corner of that car looked a little bit shortened. So you might add a bit of contact with the wall as well. But hopefully you can roll that car into pit lane, put some fuel in it and keep going. But Darren McKenzie now resumes the lead of the motor race for lap 57 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries with a 4.7 second gap over Stephen Williams. Ruben Phelps has now jumped into the P3 position with Jackson Callow back up into P4. Aaron Dillon rounding out your top five. Aaron Dillon sporting a little bit of damage down the left-hand side of his supercar at the moment. I saw that earlier in the broadcast. So you'll see we're on board there now with Aaron Dillon as he comes out of turn two. We'll just have a look up the left-hand side of his car, and it looks like he's had a little bit of a scrape. Yeah, he has. He's had a little bit of a scrape up the left-hand side. It looked a little bit worse earlier, but that must be my old ageing eyes. But Darren McKenzie doing a great job at the front. But that interval, see there, great strategy there by Stephen Williams. It's sort of sticking around that 4.4 second mark gap at the moment. So if Stephen Williams, if it does go green, does the same thing on the same strategy, we could be calling a side-by-side finish.
Yeah, as I said before, Steve is a genius with his strategy at times. So this one's worked out well for him so far. If he does it again, like you said, should be right up with him by the end of the race.
Well, pitting 7 laps odd earlier, I believe, to what Ruben maybe pitted, or what Darren actually pitted, and Ruben was a lap or two later. So it's actually given Stephen a bit of a buffer to Ruben and Jackson, who was running with for a little bit before dropping back. So he's actually gained 2.5 seconds on both of those guys by pitting earlier.
Yeah, he's done well, and he's bringing that gap down to Darren now as well. It's down to 4.1, so yeah, it looks like he's driving quite well.
And also, guys, we can't take out of... we've got to have a look too. The drivers that are sort of sitting around about that 7th through to, we could even go down to the 16th position at the moment. They pitted around about 10 or so, anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 laps after the leaders at the moment. So they're going to be stationary for a lot shorter of a time than the guys at the front. So they might have lost a bit now, but when they go through the next pit stops, it's definitely going to be quicker for them through pit lane. So there's still a lot more to play out here for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. The race isn't really on until after the second pit stop is complete. But, you can only put yourself in the best position you can be, and Darren's done that so far. So he had a bit of an issue trying to get past the lap car there, I think, because the gap closed to about 2.9 for a second there.
Yeah, it looked like it did drop back a little bit, but then Stephen Williams is going to have the same problem when he catches that lap car. So we'll just keep an eye on that gap at the front at the moment. So anyone that's tuning in to the InterSim Esports Network here on Facebook, whether it be on Facebook rather, Twitch or YouTube, looking at the comments, feel free to have some comments. Who's your pick? Who do you think's going to win this race? How do you think the race is going so far? Give us an idea of your strategy. Get in, get amongst us, and get into the chat, and let's create some content. So feel free to have a chat with us through the race. If you do want to get on and share it on Facebook at IntoSim Esports Network, IN2SIM Esports Network, and that's the same across all our socials. So do that and we'll be able to bring all the action to you live. So Raymond, mate, we are just about coming up on halfway through your first time as a guest appearance in the broadcast booth with us. How are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's good, mate. It's as you said earlier, it's a different sort of way to watch the race and watch things unfold. Obviously, when you're in the car, you can only see what's directly in front of you and directly behind you. So it's kind of nice to see what's going on throughout the whole field, and it's good to have a bit of an opinion on what's going on and strategies and things like that. So I like it. Good
to hear, mate. Good to have you. But Justin Witcher, have a look at that. Back up into P5.
Yeah, he's done well. As I said, I think he might have been looking after those tyres a little bit in that first stint. I know we talk about it regularly on the team chat, tyres, so I think that's probably what he was doing, because he is closing the gap to Jackson Callow quite quickly now.
Yeah, he is, and I'm just going back. I'm having a look. That interval at the front there, guys, has now gone to under 3 seconds between Darren and Stephen. So I believe Stephen may have made his way past that lap traffic, and it's dropping quite quickly now down to 2.6. The last lap, Darren must have got caught up in traffic because half a second was taken out of his lead.
I think we might be seeing the start of Darren's tyres going off, because it's been a couple of laps now that he's sort of been in the 5s and 6s instead of the 2s and 3s. So we also don't know if Steve took tyres or not as well. That's the other thing.
Looking at the stationary time, I don't believe Steve did, because there was about that 5 seconds difference that we spoke about, and that was the lap difference that the cars had run. So I believe they're on the same strategy at the moment. But Steve was running very, very quick at the start of this race as well, as we see Ruben Phelps just taking second. So no sooner did we concentrate on Stephen Williams trying to get this gap down to Darren McKenzie, Ruben Phelps come a part of the play.
Yeah, that's sort of turning into a bit of a four-way battle now. Jackson's not too far off the back of them either. So the field's starting to work their way back together, because, as we said before, Justin is closing the gap to Jackson. So we might see 4 or 5 cars sort of pack in the next, 10 laps or so.
Yeah, we're just going back to an instant replay here. Sorry to cut you off there, Raymond. So we're just going back to the replay of Ruben passing Stephen Williams. So got a good run on the outside there, out of 2 into 3. Looks like, Williams got caught up big time. He put his brakes on there thinking he was going to get back into the back of the car in front. So that allowed Ruben to get around the outside. Look at the amount of pace Stephen Williams lost by just putting his foot on the brake that time.
Yeah, you lose a lot, man, because this is obviously pretty much a flat out track. So if you brake too much, you lose it quite a distance.
All right, looks like Jackson Callow has made the move up into P3 ahead of Stephen Williams as well. So Jackson Callow back up into his usual position that we've seen him in this race, up into P3. Looking at the gap, Ruben Phelps is about to make a move for the lead of this motor race by the looks of it. Really pulling in Darren McKenzie hand over fist at the moment. Not sure if that is back markers or, as you mentioned, tyre wear. But look, Darren McKenzie, how high he's gone through 1 and 2, or was that 3 and 4? Sorry, a little bit disorientated at the moment. But he's now lost 2 places in the one corner.
Yeah, I think we might be seeing the signs of running so hard for so long. I think the tyres are starting to go off for Darren.
Yeah, I think you called that one correctly, Raymond. But Ruben Phelps, 06 from Aussie Esports, takes the lead of this motor race, but he's not going to have it all his own way. Jackson Callow right up under the rear bumper of that Commodore. Both running Commodores at the moment, so we've got 2 Commodores at the front of this motor race and a Ford's in 3rd and 4th, I believe.
Yeah, Darren's dropped back to 5th now, so there's definitely something wrong with his tyres. He's dropped a long way in not very long time.
hopefully he hasn't blown a front right, because that was a second in the last lap, or even more than a second. Justin Witcher's last lap was a 33.89 as opposed to a 35.78 for Darren. So hopefully there's not more wrong with the 0-2 car of Darren McKenzie, but he's falling like a ton of bricks as Justin Witcher takes P3 off Stephen Williams there. So Justin Witcher making his way back up through the field after dropping back to mid-pack earlier in the race.
Yeah, I think he might have blown a tyre. I think he might have been onto something there, Hayden, because he's now back to 9th position, so, and dropping.
And we'll see whether he comes through pit lane. He's not showing in pit lane at the moment, but yeah, for a drop off like that, something's happened. Here he comes. Yeah, so it looks like he may have popped that front right tyre. So let's not say that that's race over for Darren, but it's going to make it very hard to come back from that one.
Yeah, it's massive, because he's 7 laps short of where you need to be in terms of making it on fuel. If we're judging 55 as what you can get out of it, saying he will have to stop again.
He would be absolutely fuming underneath his helmet at the moment, really fuming. But that's what you get. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you've learnt something here on the InterSim Esports Network, don't go too hard too early. So there you go, there's the tip. But Ruben Phelps at the front, currently 0.1 seconds ahead, 0.17 seconds ahead of Jackson Callow. Justin Witcher right on their tail now as well in the group of 3. Stephen Williams and Aaron Dillon just off the back of this lead group at the moment. So the top 3 have a little bit of a gap on the rest of the field at the moment.
Yeah, slight gap back to Aaron. It does make you wonder about earlier if maybe Jackson was listening to our broadcast earlier, because he dropped off after pushing through the field. So when we were talking about tyre wear, so maybe he was listening.
Well, he's a lot better than me, because I struggle to just drive the thing, let alone listening to a broadcast at the same time and doing other stuff. So if he's doing that, kudos to you, mate. But it's definitely working for him, up 12 spots on his starting position. But Justin Witcher's just got up past him into P2 at the moment as well. So don't be surprised. Justin Witcher looks very, very racy at the moment as he nearly gets back into Ruben.
I'd say he'll go to the lead there, and he does.
Yeah, he definitely does. Nice and easy around the outside there, Ruben Phelps.
As I said before, I'm pretty sure he's got the best tyres in the field right now. He was definitely sitting back, looking after his tyres. As I said before, he's such a smart driver. He knows these cars inside and out. He's, as I said before, there's a reason he's leading the championship.
Well, lucky we have a seat kept up here in the broadcast booth for him. We currently sit it here. It's got his name across the back. It's one of those deck chairs like you have in the movies with Witcher across the back, because we speak to him every bloody week. So he's got his seat nice and warm, and there's a commentator's curse if you've ever seen it. But I say that every week, and he always proves me wrong. So Justin Witcher now, he's pulled out 1.4 seconds on Ruben really quickly. So that's a massive, massive gain for Justin. Hopefully he can keep that up through the pit stops.
Yeah, he's running putting a gap on now. It's at the 2 seconds already, and he only just went past him. So,
and we're also not going to see the issue that Darren had, because of the way that this strategy is going to work if it goes green. So he's in the box seat at the moment, halfway or just over halfway through this motor race. Ruben Phelps struggling at the moment. He was leading a couple of laps ago. Aaron Dillon and Gary Wellman have currently got past him to take 2nd and 3rd respectively as well. Now Cade Donnelly's joined the battle, and Troy Davidson. So now those Sim Boys cars are working together, and they are coming.
Well, as I sort of said, it's sort of reversed itself. Like I was saying earlier, where all the back guys were at the front and all the front guys were at the back, all the guys that started up the front are back at the front. They must have known that the tyres were going to be the important issue, and they dropped back to save them, and now they're back at the front. So good drive by all of them.
Let's just keep an eye on that gap. I know we're concentrating on the front, ladies and gentlemen, but we just want to do that because that's where the strategy is at the moment of this motor race. Just keep an eye on that gap between Justin and the 4 Sim Boys racing guys at the moment. It looks like it's sort of ebbing and flowing. It's around about that 2.5, 2.7 second mark. We'll see whether these guys can drag back that gap, but they look like they want to race each other a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the Sim Boys team. They don't really work together. Like, they just want to race, man. They just enjoy it so much, and they don't really work together too often. So they probably need to here for their own good to try and bring Justin back a bit, but we'll see what happens.
as it looked like one of them had a little bit of a blink out there. So whoever was behind him, I believe that was Cade Donnelly maybe, that had a blink out. Troy Davidson would have been closing his eyes for a little bit there. But this is going really quick, gentlemen. We're already 80 laps into 134.
Yeah, so we should now start to see people go to the lane, I think, because 55 laps is what we're working with for a tank. So now, from now on, they should be able to make it on fuel if they pit, and I'd say they want to get on the fresh rubber. So I think we should keep an eye on the pit lane in the next few laps. Yeah,
100% we'll have to do that. Live timing's just catching up at the moment because it's saying Justin Witcher's just gone down a lap, so not sure what's happening there, but we'll just keep an eye on that live timing and see what happens. Greg Spencer's currently up into P6 too.
Justin's out to about 2.5 seconds at the moment still, so he's in the pits. So there it is.
Bang on, as you said, Raymond. So 81 laps in. Let's see whether Troy Davidson and the Sim Boys cars try and cover off that, because he's going to take a fresh set here. So if I was them, I'd be jumping in. They're going to be stationary for a little bit a little bit shorter than Justin, so we'll see what happens.
I think they'll definitely dive to the lane here. They won't want to stay out on the older tyres for any longer than they have to. Oh, the yellow.
Oh, and the yellow. Hopefully Justin's out of pit lane, otherwise that is terrible for Justin, and he's currently still in there, so that is bad timing for a yellow for Justin Witcher.
Absolutely terrible. It couldn't be any worse for him. It's unlucky for him.
All right, so we're under yellow. We're just going back and having a look at where that incident come from. Unfortunately, we didn't get that come up on our timing screen or who was involved in that. So we'll endeavour to bring those images to you shortly, ladies and gentlemen. But currently the leader of this motor race is Gary Wellman, followed by Troy Davidson, Cade Donnelly, Aaron Dillon and Greg Spencer, rounding out the top 5 for round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Looks like Jackson Callow.
Jackson Callow, we believe, might have been involved in that. So I'm definitely giving commentators curses tonight. So we'll just see what happens here. Caught the apron. Oh, big tank slapper up into the wall. Night over for Jackson Callow, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the timing is, as we said before, I think it's terrible for Justin. I think he's going to get trapped a lap down here.
I think you're right. I might leave this with you for a couple of minutes, gentlemen, while they go through. I'm sure most of they're all jumping through pit lane. They'll be right back to take us to green for round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries once again here on the IndySim Esports Network.
Yeah, so I mean 84 laps green there, so that's a good little run we've had there, Paul. A lot of good action as well.
Yeah, so it looks like Michael Shaw's actually got the waiver around there, got the lucky dog, so he's actually moved himself back onto the lead lap, and it's jumped a few cars there, but he might come into pits as well to see where he'll slot back in, I think, probably around P10 or so possibly, but at the back of that grid.
I think in other news, I think Justin and Steve have got lucky, and I think they're out behind the pace car but before the leader, so they'll get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, that looks like it there with Terry Marwood, Christopher Finlay and Justin Witcher there behind the pace car, so they all get a wave around with one to go.
Yeah, although Steve just came down the pit lane, so that's interesting.
So currently our effective leader will be Troy Davidson with Cade Donnelly, Gary Wellman and Aaron Dillon. 4 or 5 Simboys cars there. Christopher Finlay back in P21, so he's having a bit of a rough night tonight, Christopher.
Yeah, not the night he would have been hoping for, trying to close the gap on Justin, obviously, at the top of the championship. So, obviously, there's still, 50 laps to play out. But I think now everyone will be able to make it on fuel, so now it's just a straight race to the finish line.
And I'm back, gentlemen. My sincerest apologies for that. I just had to run away for a second. So thank you for covering me off there. But yeah, Troy Davison leading this motor race with Cade Donnelly in second. We just go back. I'm just having a look. Looks like Justin Witcher, live timing hasn't caught up at the moment. He's in 11th. I'm not sure whether he stayed on that lead lap.
Yeah, we did just discuss that he did.
Apologies.
Him and who was it? Stephen Williams and a couple others got in between the leader and the pace car, so they did stay on they'll get the wave around and be back on the lead lap. So.
That's what you get from walking away from the screen. For my apologies, but thanks for covering that off. But boys, there's the wave around, as you just said. But 86 into 134, you're still keen on your picks?
Yeah, I think Justin has proven that he's good enough to do it, but there's 5 or 6 guys that can win this race easily, maybe more than that. Like the whole SimBoys team can win. They're all very good drivers. I think the Pinnacle Esports team, my teammates, they're good enough. And Sam K as well. He's always really fast in these cars. So there's a good 8 or 9 drivers that are in this race, I think.
Well, bearing another yellow coming out in the last 40, 50 odd laps of this race, 13 cars currently on the lead lap, with Tom Pritchard being the final one of those.
Yeah, you'll notice that Darren McKenzie, who led most of the race, is the first car 1 lap down. So that tyre issue really affected his race.
He'll be definitely hoping for another caution and stay in that position to get the wave round. But we're about to go green again. It is in the hands of Cade Donnelly for round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries after our first caution of the night, and we are green once again. Troy Davidson with a stomping start. He goes straight up to the outside line to cover it off at SimBoys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sam Katakuzanos up the inside, wanting to be a part of this as well, trying to take it up the inside of Cade Donnelly. Greg Spencer there for Pinnacle Esports. 6 and the yellows out straight away. There we go. Darren McKenzie was waiting for that one, and he was the last on the lap down. Sorry, first a lap down, so it looks like he'll get a wave around and back in contention for this motor race. So we'll just go back at that instant replay. Oh, so we were just calling Sam Katakuzanos going up the inside of one of the SimBoys cars there.
Yeah, it was Aaron Dillon.
Aaron Dillon has got loose through 1 and 2. Stevie Dubb very close to getting him. Pete Matson.
I think he might have got him.
Oh, who was that in the background?
That was Chris Finley. That's not good for his championship.
Oh, no. Christopher will be spewing with that. They were just nowhere to go.
No, that's unfortunate for Chris, minding his own business at the back, and yeah, just nowhere to go. Unfortunately, that's, as I said, that's going to hurt his championship.
Well, we might jump on board actually with Peter Matson, because he got involved in that as well. We'll just see where he is, because I wouldn't mind bringing him up into the booth, and if he's in there taking some repairs, it might be time to be able to bring him up and have a little bit of a chat. He got a little bit of an incident there. Doesn't look too bad, so we might just leave him alone at the moment and see what happens under this caution period. But yeah, we'll bring someone up for a chat. We'll bring Derek Jacobs from the United States of America up and have a chat to him. So just move Derek Jacobs up into the broadcast booth. Derek, mate, unfortunate there. What happened to you in the race? You were doing well. You did lead a lap of this race early hours of the morning in the United States of America. Give us a bit of an insight into how your race transpired. And it looks like Derek isn't on the mic. Derek, have you got a copy?
Looks like he might have fallen asleep, mate. It's pretty early in the morning for him over there, so I wouldn't be surprised at all.
He has. So, all right, we're still on the yellow. We'll bring someone else up, someone that we haven't really spoken to in the broadcast booth much. We'll bring up Andy Barber, Aidan Raymond and Paul from the broadcast booth. We thought we'd take the opportunity to bring you up and have a chat to you under caution. I hope you don't mind, mate. Currently P7 up 5 on your starting position. How's your race panning out so far?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just trying to keep out of trouble. The concrete around here is unforgiving, so just trying to stay off that as much as possible. But very lucky with that last incident with Aaron Dillon off to the right of me there. So, yeah.
And you've got your teammate there, I believe, in Adam Malone, right up behind you. Very tight racing at the front. Do you think you got something for these guys in the back end of this race? I know we've got a lot to play out yet, but are you feeling confident?
Oh yeah, I'm just going to take every lap as it comes, Aiden, and I got new tyres now, so I'm fueled to the end. So we'll just see what happens and just try and pick the spots and be sensible, and hopefully we can be there at the end.
And we saw last night in another league, I believe it was his son, Ryan Barber. Was he having a run last night?
He was, mate. Yep, Ryan. You're right.
And he was on your rig, or has he got his own?
He's on my rig, mate. Yeah, I work those nights, so I'll just keep an eye on him and make sure that he doesn't upset anyone. But yeah, it's good to see him getting his hands dirty as well, being a young fella. So
yeah, it was good to have a race against him last night, and he had a nice, solid, clean result. So well done to him. But mate, thanks for allowing us to bring you up into the broadcast booth. Currently sitting there in P7. Hopefully we can give you be talking to you at the end of the broadcast and don't give you the commentator's curse.
No worries, guys. Enjoy your evening.
No worries. Best of luck. We'll talk to you later.
And looks like Ryan's actually tuning into the broadcast as well, so he's given a bit of a woohoo out to Andy there.
Yeah, good to see him tuning in and having a watch. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Good to see you here, mate, watching through Facebook. So really appreciate that, supporting the old man. So hopefully he goes well, and good job last night on your run too, mate. Look forward to seeing you on his rig when you can, running some laps. But guys, Troy Davidson currently leading this race under caution. Gary Wellman in second, Cade Donnelly in third. So still a Simboys 1, 2, 3 lockout at the moment. Sam Katakouzanos in fourth, but he had a little bit of a hit on that right-hand door with that incident with Aaron Dillon. I don't think that's going to hinder him much in this race. We'll see when we go to green. But Pinnacle Esports driver, your teammate there, Raymond, Greg Spencer, up into P5. He had a really solid run last night in another race, but unfortunate incident with 10 to go. So he's showing he's got a lot of speed in whatever he drives at the moment, currently in top 5.
Yeah, he's been in really good form, Greg, of late, which is good. He's been a guy that's been improving every time he hits the track. So yeah, it's good for him. It builds his confidence up, and hopefully he can have a good result tonight as well. It's always good for the team to have some nice results here and there. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're definitely getting used to Simboys and Pinnacle Esports being at the pointy end of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, and tonight is definitely nothing different as Troy Davidson brings us to green for the second restart of round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries right here on the Intersim Esports Network. We have Gary Wellman taking that outside line. As you said earlier, Raymond, these guys don't generally work together, so don't be surprised if Gary Wellman tries to take the lead of this race. But Sam Katakouzanos says, no thank you, I want a part of this, and I'm coming up the inside into P3. Nigel Payton has just got up the inside as well, and he wants to be a part of this. Greg Spencer's making a move on the inside of Nigel as well.
So on to the lead as well. There no sign of bad, no bad effects from that incident with Aaron before, by the looks of things.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like there's a mark to his car at the moment, so looking very good.
And it's obviously going well. Greg's up to second. Good on him.
Yeah, he's flying. He's doing great. So Greg said, he gets a little bit loose there out of 2. Held that well. So Greg's trying to move to the front of this race or work there with Semi K. Nigel Payton and Justin Witcher are going to want to move up as quick as they can to get up there as well. Andy Barber, we just spoke to, who was in 5th, has now moved up into P3. But have a look behind those Pinnacle Esports cars are pushing their way through the middle. Ruben Phelps on the inside gets a bit taily out of 4 as well. So Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer trying to move up to Nigel Payton and help him along Greg Spencer is up in front of Nigel Payton and Justin Witcher, so they're trying to make their way up past Andy Barber to get into this, and we're 3 wide down the back straight, almost 3 wide into 3. Oh no! Contact. He's held it. He's held it. Andy Barber got involved in that as well. We're still green here, so every driver just spoke to again, there is the commentator's curse. So Greg's moved back very, very quickly. Looks like Michael Shaw's up the inside there in the background as well, trying to get the move done. Darren McKenzie making his way forward as well after getting a wave around. So he's back in contention of this motor race, moved up into P10 as he moves on the inside of Stephen Williams down the back straight. But Nigel Payton has cleared out. He has 0.6 seconds ahead of Justin Witcher at the moment. He won't want to back off and allow Justin to get up there as teammates because he's got that gap. Otherwise, that'll let him go back into the clutches of Justin Witcher and Ruben Phelps.
Sammy K is coming down the pit lane. He's got to serve a drive-through for too many incident points. So that's going to be his night done, unfortunately.
Oh no, that's unfortunate for Sam. He would have got a nice 4X from that incident with Aaron Dillon, so there must have been others that went on through the race as well. But Ruben Phelps has now moved up into second in front of Justin Witcher, so they're going to want to chase down Nigel Payton. Gary Wellman being a part of this as well, going up the inside of Justin Witcher. Who else have we got there? Adam Malone there, Paul, your pick, up into P5. Darren McKenzie's moved up into P6. Andy Barber still holding on there in P7, doing a great job after getting caught up in that little bit of an incident there with Greg Spencer. It wasn't his fault, but he had a little bit of a touch to his race car, so he's doing a good job. Troy Davidson's back there on 7th. We've got another car heading down pit lane at the moment, or on the inside of the apron, sorry, down the back straight. Looks like that's a lap car just getting out of the way. Stephen Williams looking very racy there in behind Andy Barber. So he's looking to make a move there to go up into the 8th or 7th position, I believe. Adam Malone, sorry, wrong driver. So Stephen Williams down the inside, but back to the front of this motor race, Nigel Payton's got half a second gap on Ruben Phelps. Ruben's wheeling him in ever so slightly. Looks like it's easy enough to grab a lead of this. As we see people into the wall in the background, we're still going green here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it's firing up as we are nearly 34 laps to go of this motor race.
Yeah, well, it's gone back to how it was at the start of the race. Obviously, after that restart, everyone's next to each other, and now we're getting some 2-3 wide action again. So it's good to see, and hopefully they all keep it clean and we go straight to the end from here. It'll be a good finish.
Yeah, and we just see Mark Johansson chime in on the Facebook chat. Mark, thanks for jumping in. He's got Greg Spencer for the win. So Greg is now in P6. He's making his way back up, but Ruben Phelps, the 06 Aussie Esports car, moves up into the lead of the motor race. Nigel Payton's not making it easy for him on the outside, but he clears him coming out of 4 down the main straight. So we have another change for the lead here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, guys. And tell you what, we're 100 and 134. We thought it was going to heat up, and it definitely hasn't disappointed.
Absolutely, and it's all good. It's so good to see that it doesn't look like Greg's got any side effects from that contact with Sam before, so he can still have a good run to the end here as well. But like I said, Ruben to the lead. As I said earlier in the race, he's figured out these V8s on ovals now and is starting to dominate this like he does in the cup cars and trucks.
Yeah, he is. He had a good run out last night as well with the P2, so solid result last night, and he's backing it up with a nice solid run so far, but there is a long way to go. Gary Wellman and Justin Witcher are trying to work together behind them just to try and draw this gap back, so a long way to go. Nigel Payton just lost a little bit there through 1 and 2, catching the apron unfortunately, so that's going to slow him out of 2 down the back straight and allow Gary Wellman and Justin Witcher just to try and pull up on the back of him.
And tonight's dominant car, Darren McKenzie, is back up to 5th now after getting that wave around last caution, so he's definitely going to be one to watch for the end of this race as well.
He will. He won't leave anything on the table. We know that. So don't
100%.
write off Darren McKenzie at all. So we'll see how that goes. Andy Barber still sitting there in P6, just with Greg Spencer behind him. Troy Davidson's moved back a little bit after that restart, gone back into 9th. So don't know whether he's struggling a little bit, but we'll see as the race pans out. Adam Malone back there in 10th. Michael Shaw, the last car on the lead lap, in P11. So a nice solid run for Michael tonight. We've said that the last couple of rounds. He started at the back or sort of 3/4 to the back of most of the races, but we've always seen him in contention for a top 10 finish, if not to fight for that podium position.
Yeah, I was his improvement over the last, I don't know, six to 8 weeks maybe, has been really, really impressive. He likes to not qualify and start down the back. That's his strategy, and just stays out of the trouble. But he's always there in, like you said, towards the top 10, top 5 even. So no, he's been really good. Mad props to him, man. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is. He's putting a little bit of the heat on the back of who's that at the moment. It's showing Troy Davidson in front of him, but not sure that is. That's Jamie Nankervis. So Jamie is a lapped car, so he's just making his way past Jamie. So Michael Shaw has about a second to get on Troy Davidson, who holds down the 9th spot currently. But Ruben Phelps, we go to the front. So it's tightened up at the front. We have a 5-way battle for the front at the moment. So that'll be Ruben Phelps leading the way, Nigel Payton in second, Justin Witcher 3rd, Darren McKenzie 4th, and Gary Wellman will round out your top 5. Very small gaps between all of them. Darren McKenzie's now moved up into P4 as well, so he's making a run. He's wanting to make a run on Justin Witcher to get up into that third spot as well. So Darren's not happy to sit there and just push him by the looks of it, as though he gets really close. He's making the move up into 3. So Darren is backing his pure car pace. He's not waiting to sit back and wait for this race to pan out. He wants to get to the front pretty quick by the looks of it.
Yeah, and we saw earlier, like, his speed is definitely as good, if not better, than anyone else in the field. So I don't think he'll want to muck around too much with getting back to the front here.
And I see Mark Joe there too, Mark Joe Hansen, commenting on our stream on Facebook. He says Ruben doesn't have the Bandicoot to help him tonight. And by that, I'd probably read into the meaning me, Mark, and I'd much rather Bandicoot than Crash. So, yeah, I'll take Bandicoot if that is me that you're talking about. But Ruben doing a great job at the lead of this race. Nigel Payton has come back up onto the back of him, though, guys. Darren McKenzie's made that move for P3 ahead of Justin Witcher, and Gary Wellman's still sitting there in P5.
Yeah, Nigel's doing a great job out there tonight. You know, he's doesn't always run towards the front, so to be mixing it with these guys tonight, he's doing a really, really solid job. And
on Nigel, he hasn't had a lot of finishes near the front. He does mix it. He's a very quick driver. He seems to qualify very well, or most times in the top 10. It just seems he gets a little bit unlucky in the races. So tonight he's doing a lot better with that luck. So hopefully that keeps going. But Darren McKenzie's making the move up there for P2. Justin Witcher trying to follow him through as Darren McKenzie blinks out a little bit. So Justin Witcher's made the move into P3, and it looks like he's going to try the inside as well. So Nigel Payton is probably going to just drop into the behind Justin Witcher, his teammate now. They're probably talking on comms saying that, and push their way to the front. So we'll see whether Darren can bring this gap back on Ruben Phelps, as they're in a train of 4 at the moment, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th respectively. Yeah, I'd say it's only 0.7, so you'll definitely still be in the draft of Ruben here, so you should be able to get back to him, I'd imagine. Yeah, I'd imagine, looking at last lap times, which is not really anything to look at, to be honest, because there were moves to be made. I love making up words here on the InterSim Esports Network. I do it each week, but we'll see over the next couple of laps what the gap does. It's back to 1.5 and it's coming back pretty quickly, so we're going to see a 5-way battle from this motor race pretty shortly, I'd suspect. Yeah, it looks that way. Then it probably will just be those 5, because I think there's about a 3.5 second gap back to Cade Donnelly in 6th. So, although he is closing that gap, so he'll be harbouring hopes to get back into the race as well. Yeah, and as we keep going through this race, gents, let's just keep one eye on Michael Shaw, just because I'm just having a look at the gaps and the times that people are doing, etc. He's really in a good spot to be able to fight for a possible top 6 here. So we'll just keep one eye on Michael Shaw. We will keep at the lead of this motor race, as we're 111 laps into 134. But as Michael Shaw goes through this race, we might just have a look at that. We'll keep an eye out for Adam Malone as well. Looks like he's dropped off a little bit there in P11, so he might have a bit of damage. And Greg's dropped off a bit in P9 too after that little incident. So Greg's moved back to P9 just behind Andy Barlow. And you'd be happy to see that too, Raymond. You see Justin Witcher make the move for P2 around Darren McKenzie, and now he's wanting to chase down Ruben Phelps. Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to see teammate up the front, and obviously I picked him to win tonight, so he's doing a good job for me. And obviously, as a championship leader, he wants to finish in the top few positions just to maintain and extend that lead. Yeah, it's looking good to do that so far tonight, Raymond. He had a quite extensive lead coming into round 9. So nice solid result will definitely help put him in good stead to take out this championship. But a lot can happen in the final couple of rounds. So a long way to go. But he's definitely got a little bit of pace on Ruben at the moment. 113 into 34. So we'll see whether he's happy to sit there with Ruben, or he feels comfortable enough to take the lead of the race if he does have the car speed, and see if he can drive away. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure here whether you want to be leading or following for the coming into the final lap. There are some tracks you definitely don't want to be in the lead of, but I'm not 100% sure whether this is one of them or not. Yeah, we saw it in the first stint that you can lead from the front. Darren McKenzie made that crystal clear that you can, but different tyre sets at the moment, different part of the motor race and a different mindset, rather, on where you want to be. At the moment, it looks like Justin's happy just to sit in there behind him as they come up on lap traffic, with which will be Sam Katakouzanos, who we saw have a drive-through down pit lane. So we'll see if they can get past him nice and cleanly. Ruben Phelps drops down just to try and get that little bit of a draft by that back marker, and will pull right up on the back of Sam K. So we'll see how quickly Ruben Phelps, he'd love to get a car between him and Justin Witcher at the moment. Looks like he's going to do that quite easily, but Justin will get a run on Sam K as well. So Ruben about to make the move on Sam right there. Justin not far behind. We'll see if he can clear him. Not quite down out of turn 2. He'll make that move done, but Sam's just rolled out of the throttle there and let him pass. So that was really good for Justin, and Justin ranges right back up onto the back of Ruben there into 3.
Yeah, you got a really good run into that corner there, Justin, and closed the gap significantly. Oh, wow.
Oh, commentators, curse has striked again. Yellow, 116 into 134 laps, the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and involved in that was none other than your championship leader, Justin Witcher. We'll go back and have a look at that one, gentlemen. So Justin Witcher was making the move on a back marker, Sam Katakouzanos there. Looks like Justin's getting a little bit loose there out of 4. He's fighting to hold it. Sam's done nothing wrong there, and night over for Justin Witcher and Sam Katakouzanos, unfortunately. Looks like, was that Nigel Payton getting caught up in that as well?
It looks like Nigel has got caught up in that as well, so that's disaster for both my teammates. Yeah, it looks like Justin just put the foot down and got a bit loose, and yeah, it looks like night done for him and Nige.
Oh, unfortunate, mate. That is definitely commentator's curse if we've ever seen it. But we'll move the leader of this motor race, Ruben Phelps, up into the booth. Just have a chat with him as we've got just under 20 to go, and we're under caution and see how he's going and how the race is planning out. Ruben Phelps, welcome up into the broadcast booth, mate. Solid race so far. P1, unfortunate incident there behind you with Justin Witcher trying to clear Sam Katakouzanos. You got Darren McKenzie up there behind you as well, mate. You're confident coming into the last, say, 15 odd laps of this one?
At the moment, I actually have no idea. The runs seem to come and go. The car pushes up or gets a good run. It's very, let's just say it's unstable on the bumps. I'm not sure why that is. It just seems a bit, I think it's quite close to the ground, which makes it really edgy to drive. So, but I think with that one incident right there, I think has taken a lot of the guys who had a chance out. I think it's going to be, who's in third there? Who's in third? I can't quite tell.
Kate Donnelly, mate.
Yeah, we'll see what this, but I think it's going to be a race between me and Darren, but anything's possible.
Paul or Raymond, anything you want to have a chat to Ruben about while we've got him quickly before we go green again?
Yeah, Ruben, mate. I know you used to struggle in these V8s around the ovals, mate. It seems you've sort of figured them out over the last, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've played with a couple of things. I've tried different things in all the vehicles lately, but some are good, some are bad, some are absolute terrible, and some are fine. So I'm trying to find that in between at the moment, but it seems to be working for these V8s lately. It's just, I'm not the most stable, but it's fast. So that's the most important part. But yeah, I'm definitely happy with how it's been running. Even was actually surprised with the 8th place with the road course race last week. So I've obviously got something going.
Yeah, as I said, whatever you're doing, mate, it's working, so keep doing it. But yeah, good luck for the rest of the race, man. You're doing well.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Yeah, good luck too, mate, from me. And then, Paul, mate, bring back the 06 Aussie Esports in hopefully the top step, mate. If not, just have a nice solid run.
I'll try to.
We've got a few shout-outs as well. So Derek Jacobs, obviously is parked up for the night, but showing his support for these Southern Stars. So that new livery we've seen, and saying Southern Stars might shine tonight, and they might shine indeed with Andy Barber currently sitting in P5. So
yeah, it's a really nice livery, that new livery.
It does. It looks very fresh and quite nice. The colours all work well together, so it looks very good. And we had Ryan Barber also jumping on there, so if there was another caution, then the last 20 laps sprint to the end is going to be very entertaining, which it certainly will be indeed. And
It will be.
Yeah, you're spot on there. That's this is really going to shake up the last 15 laps or so. Should be really good entertainment now.
Well, I do apologise, Raymond. First time up here as special guest up into the broadcast booth. I do apologise in the last 15 laps if you struggle to get a word in edgeways, because if you've watched the broadcast, I go a little bit tongue-tied and talk a lot. So I do apologise if I talk over you in the last 15 laps. But
that's all right, mate. I've watched every one of them, and I know how you get. So look, I'll let you do what you do, mate. You do it well. So yeah.
No, mate, jump in, chime in whenever you want. It's a pleasure to have you here. So we're about to go green again after another caution period here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you right here on the InSim Esports Network. Ryan Barber's said no commentators curse again, but thanks for tuning in, Ryan. Again, Ruben Phelps takes us to green here with 15 to go. Round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Homestead, Miami Speedway is the location, and Ruben Phelps has a great jump over Cade Donnelly. Darren McKenzie gets caught way out wide there into one, but holds it around the outside. Look at the run Darren's got through 1 and 2 around the outside of Cade Donnelly. Is he going to clear him? Doesn't look so, but Ruben Phelps is looking in his rear vision mirror going, fight, boys, fight. I want you to fight as much as you can so he can make a gap. But it looks like Darren's got a very quick car as he's just about to move down clear of Cade Donnelly. But no, he stayed on that midline, allowing Cade to just run up the inside of him there. So the longer these guys go side by side, Ruben's going to keep making that gap at the front. So we'll see how this plays out over the next 5 laps. But Ruben will definitely be liking what he sees. Yeah, guys, excited for this one. I'll settle down for a little bit. We've still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're getting excited early. There's still about 14 laps, so just time your run, mate. Time your run.
Mate, I'm usually excited lap 2. You know that. That's what it's all about. It's motorsport.
It looks like
the Australasian Supercar eSeries, mate. How can you not be excited?
Spot on. Preece got into the wall there, and looks like his night's done.
Yeah, lucky not to bring out a caution there too. Dwayne Preece was having a decent night as well. He was a lap down. He's now gone 2 laps down, so unfortunate for Preece. He's had a really unfortunate run in this whole series, actually. So
yeah, he has. He's got tangled up in a few things. It's not his fault, and it's unlucky. But you know, we all go through those periods. You just gotta keep coming back, and eventually the luck changes.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely a game of luck sometimes, not necessarily skill. So Darren McKenzie, as you can see, ranging up on the back there of Ruben Phelps. It's going to be a 3-car fight for the lead of this motor race very shortly. It is right now. Darren McKenzie up the inside there. This is a familiar thing we saw early in the race, gentlemen. Darren McKenzie taking the lead of the motor race, Ruben Phelps on the outside. Cade Donnelly's going with Darren McKenzie on that inside line as well. He looked like he wanted to take it 3 wide a little bit for a second. He just poked his nose out, but he thought better of it.
I don't think Darren's going to do what he did last time, though he got to the front. I don't think he's going to run away with it this time, so I think it's going to be a great finish.
It will, as Ruben says, outside's where I'm going, and Cade's looking on that inside line, but...
Yeah, they're definitely going to take it 3 wide at some point before the end of this race. There is no doubt about that.
You've called it. That's definitely going to happen. Ruben's going to jump down the inside here and make the move, try and make the move. Darren's trying to block him off there down the back straight. They're playing for sheep stations with 10 to go. Ruben Phelps is now the leader of this motor race.
Hey, this is what V8 Oval Racing's about, mate. This is close, tight, cat and mouse game.
I call it like I called a race the other night. I liken it to tennis. Usually one corner is 15 love, the next corner is 15 all, and they keep going back and forward. They change that quickly. So it's,
it is like that at times. It really is.
Tennis for a supercar out in an oval. So who would have thought those 3 things went together? But anyway, Ruben Phelps, the leader of the motor race. Darren McKenzie still there on the outside. Cade Donnelly's driving very wise at the moment, just sitting there on that inside line. Look who's ranged up on the back there in P4, Andy Barber. He is doing a great job there.
He's working himself into the race here. Yeah, he has.
He's in contention. Troy Davidson's moved his way back up into P5. He was, that's a little bit of a touch between Cade Donnelly and Darren McKenzie there.
It's now a 7-car race. All the 7 cars that are not damaged are now all in the race now. Very small gaps between all of them. I think half a second covers all 7 cars.
Yeah, very close racing at the front here. I don't know where I'd rather be, and I'm not saying whether I'd rather be in the front or second or third, whether I'd rather be, Ruben trying to get the draft. That was close. That was nearly top 7 cars over and out.
Yeah, that was very close. You see Darren's dropped off a bit now because he would have had to back off there a little bit because Ruben, I mean, he didn't quite take his nose, but he moved up when there wasn't a lot of room. So
I reckon Darren's eyes went very, very wide very quickly
yeah.
there. But he's coming back on the inside there.
Oh,
So
yeah, he's not going to go away, man. He's not going away.
Oh, and he nearly gets into the back of Ruben. Andy Barber's sitting there and his eyes are going big now. He's going, guys, come on, don't do that, don't do that.
There's still 7 laps
from
to go.
nowhere. Greg Spencer from nowhere, gentlemen, up into P6, now P5. So still a chance for a Pinnacle Esports podium here. But Kate Donnelly has just bolted with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, all that action's given Cade a bit of a gap now, about half a second. So I think they'll gobble that up again. But yeah, that's what happens when you fight. You do give the guy in front a chance to get away.
Oh, and that's going to be a caution. There's someone in the wall behind there, I'm sure. No caution. We're still green here. So we have 5 laps to go for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here at Homestead, Miami. Cade Donnelly leading the way by 0.47 seconds over Darren McKenzie. Ruben Phelps now moved back into P3. Andy Barber up into P4. So I think the action's going to be 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment. But we'll see whether Darren can track down Cade Donnelly. He's slowly pulling in that gap. But Cade Donnelly's in a great position to take the win for round 9.
Looks like it was Michael Shaw before that got in the wall. Unfortunately for him, he was right in the mix for a top 3 and just got in the wall there.
He's still doing a great job there, though, guys. He's there in P7, so if he can stay there, he's the last car on the lead lap at the moment. So it looks like he's in for a solid top 10. So good job by Michael Shaw either way, but we'll see how the race pans out. It looks like Cade Donnelly's extending that gap. Darren McKenzie doesn't seem to have much for him at the moment. Looked like on that previous lap, Darren just pushed up a little bit through 3 and 4, I believe. So he lost a little bit of time. He's losing more and more time over Cade Donnelly. So 1, 2, that battle for 3, 4, 5, 6 at the moment is definitely hotting up. Andy Barber having a real good shot at Ruben Phelps. Now Troy Davidson making the move on the inside of both of them through one corner. What a bold move there by Troy Davidson. And now he's got Ruben Phelps in his sights.
Yeah, it looks like Cade's going to win this one now. He's got out to about 0.6 and Darren's got about 0.7 on Ruben as well. So looks like the top 2 are pretty settled. But yeah, this battle's heating up.
Definitely is, and we nearly saw an incident there between Greg Spencer and Andy Barber. Greg having to get on the apron to avoid contact there with Andy. Andy was definitely not giving him the room that he wanted, which nor would you do with a couple laps to do, as Troy Davidson takes the 3rd place off Ruben Phelps, making his way. Does he have anything for Darren McKenzie at the front, let alone Cade Donnelly? I think he's left his run a little bit too late with only 2 laps to go next time across the strike. Andy Barber's making a move for P4. Thought he was going to get up in the inside of Ruben after hitting the apron there. So good driving by both drivers there. I think Ruben saw it coming. Greg Spencer is taking advantage of that and trying to make the move up the inside of Ruben as well. Is he going to be able to get that job done? I think he will. So he's now going to move into P5.
Yeah,
so
I think Ruben might be paying a little bit of the price for leading too many laps here. His tyres might be just a little bit worse than these other boys.
Yeah, I think you're right there, mate. I think we're seeing a reverse Darren. So
yeah,
seeing a reverse Darren, but Darren's been lucky to get that lap back and up into P2. That gap is now coming down a little bit, but we're now on the final lap of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Homestead, Miami Speedway. We already see Cade Donnelly trying to move that car across the track to get out of the draft.
Yep, trying to break the draft there, yep.
We'll see him do it come down the back straight here, but he does have a lap car on the inside, so that's going to limit his options. We'll see whether Darren McKenzie can get a run. Looks like he's just a little bit too far behind, so we'll go through turn 3 and 4. We'll stay on board with your leader, Cade Donnelly. And as we come out of 4, across the line for round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, Cade Donnelly will take the win. Darren McKenzie will finish in P2, Troy Davidson in P3, Greg Spencer across the line in P4, rounding out the top 5, Ruben Phelps. Gentlemen, what a race.
Yeah, that was a great drive from Cade. You know, bided his time all night, really wasn't up the front too often, but he was there when it mattered, and good gap back to Darren in the end.
Yeah, it was a good gap. It was a good run there by Cade. he was pretty much left alone at the end, apart from Troy Davidson, and I mean that with regards to his teammates. So he did that all on his own. Great drive, just positioned his car in a good spot to be able to make that a winner. So Andy Barber did drop back into P6. Michael Shaw with a nice solid P7. We'll just see the 41 car here light up his supercar and do some victory donuts here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, we do that, guys. Raymond and Paul, just have a quick run through as we bring up the results of the race. I believe we can do that now. We're just got to make sure they're all across the line. So we'll go through the results for round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here from Homestead Miami Speedway. So Kay Donnelly takes the win. Second place goes to Darren McKenzie. Third place, Troy Davidson. Finishing in fourth was Greg Spencer from Pinnacle Esports. Ruben Phelps in P5. Andy Barber with a solid result there in P6. We spoke to him earlier in the broadcast with Michael Shaw in P7. Still Stephen Williams in P8. Jamie Nankervis P9, Pete Matson in 10, Terry Marwood in 11, Justin Witcher will finish in the 12th position, which is still a solid run, not what he wanted, but good for championship points. Gary Wellman in 13th, Christopher Finlay 14th, Brett Campbell 15th, John Quass in 16th, Dwayne Priest, another unfortunate night in the office in 17th, and Shannon Wright in 18th. Ruben Raymond, as my guest in the booth with Paul. You run us through the rest of the field.
Where were we? Nigel, are we up to Nigel?
19th, mate.
Yeah, so 19th, Nigel Payton. P20 was Adam Malone. Sam Catazina, 7. That drive-through drops him back to 21st, and then he obviously had an incident as well. In 22, you got Ian Quast, 23, Tom Pritchard, Aaron Dillon, not to forget for him, 24th. Jackson Callow, 25th. Derek Jacobs, 26th. Evan Horsfield, 27, and Todd Maxfield, 28th. And then, of course, you've got Dave Trevethan, who had that incident early on, out in 29th.
And, of course, Raymond Yeager, you finished 30th.
Yeah, I'll take that. Obviously, join the session so I can watch it in iRacing, but yeah.
What a race, guys. Absolute solid race, and it was so good to have you in the booth once again, Raymond, and it definitely didn't disappoint. Not a lot of cars on the lead lap at the end of that one after 134 laps, but I tell you what, it was action aplenty. But we do have our place getters up in the booth at the moment to have a chat to them, and we'll start off with your third place getter. Troy Davidson, mate, good race, solid race, up and down in the field, but a nice solid P3 for you tonight.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. Yeah, it was a good race. I had speed the whole race. I just, I don't know, I just sort of kept on coming through, and it just felt like little things were happening. When that first yellow came out, it sort of threw a spell. I had a real good strategy up until then. It sort of put me back in the pack a bit, and then I got swarmed on the restart. But, yeah, just kept at her, and it was a good, solid race.
Mate, we saw you drop back a little bit earlier. How'd you play your strategy? I saw you had to double stint a tyre set there. How'd your race pan out tyre set wise? Did you double stint early? I believe you did.
I think I ran it out of fuel, went right to the end of the tyres. I was sort of just lightly trail braking in the corners, and the tyres were holding on up not too bad. But at the very start, I was just going to try to manage a bit of fuel, but I was just getting swarmed mid-pack, and I thought, this is not going to sit real well here. So I just sort of tried to get going forward a bit, and yeah, it sort of wasn't too bad in the end.
Raymond, Paul, anything you want to have a chat to Troy about?
Yeah, obviously a good night for the USIM boys again, first and third. Obviously qualifying, I think, is were like 4 of the top 5 or something as well. So you'd be pleased with the team's effort, and yourself, nice solid drive for third, and it sort of stayed out of all the craziness.
Yeah, that's it, Raymond. That's, like I say, at the very start, I think probably 10 laps in, I was just going to try to just go a bit mid-pack and start a draft and conserve some fuel, but I just didn't, like you say, the craziness. I didn't feel comfortable, and I thought I've just got to get clear of this, and just try to find myself into a position where I could just sort of follow a car and still stay in the draft and save a bit of fuel, but just, try to stay out of where all the action was, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, you obviously did that really well, and finished up with a third position. So well done again on tonight.
Yep, cheers, mate.
No worries, Troy. Well, we'll let you go and do what you have done. It has been a very good night. But before we let you do that, shout out to any of your sponsors, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Just the Sim boys again, and we love turning up to these events. It's great fun, especially this series. We sort of have a lot of fun with it, and just the missus for letting me do it again, and just you guys for the broadcast and the series itself. It's a real good series.
No worries, mate. Well, once again, from us in the booth and everyone in the Sim Esports Network and the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, congratulations again on your P3.
Yep, thanks, fellas.
No worries. There we go, guys. P3 for round 9, Troy Davidson, which leads us to our second place getter. And I won't call him the luckiest driver in the world, but he had to put his car in the position to be able to get there. Darren McKenzie, P2. That one definitely didn't come easy after a really solid start.
No, I was very lucky to get back on that lead lap. It was, I think I was a lap down. I was in the position to be the lucky dog, and that second caution come real quick, or the third caution come really quickly after the second. So it got me back on the lead lap, and I knew I just had to push hard from there.
Darren, you got an 8-second lead early in the race. You showed great car pace. And then did your pit stop, obviously kept the same set of tyres on there. Would we be right to assume that you popped the right front tyre through that second stint?
Yeah, definitely did. I had a couple of the lap cars come up behind me. I think I got a little nudge and it pushed me up high, put some extra stress on the tyre, and then another one come up high and gave me another little nudge as well. And yeah, she blew the lap after, so I was forced to pit, and I was 10 laps short from home then. And yeah, those two cautions saved me big time.
Raymond and Paul, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. We were thinking it was around about 55 laps to a tank of fuel. So when your tyre went on about, I think it was around lap 73 from memory, we thought you were going to be short. So obviously got lucky a little bit with those late cautions. But I mean, the start of the race, you just sort of dominated the whole field. Was that the plan going in?
No, not really. Just the field was just going way too slow. I didn't like it at all. I just didn't want to be there with that many cars around me. Ruben pushed through low, so I followed him through, and then he sort of backed it off, and I just kept the foot down, see where it would take me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's worked out perfectly well for you in the end. Come second, so I assume you'd be pretty happy with that result in the end.
Yeah, definitely after last week's race where I was sitting in second and had the internet go down on me, so it's good to get some points again.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that actually from last week, so I thought it was pretty unlucky at the time. So well done on tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, mate, anyone you want to thank? Another nice solid night for you in the car, mate. P2, anyone you want to thank?
Just the guys at Team Hyperdrive, yourselves at Australasian SUPERCARs eSeries for the hosting, and the broadcast crew. Thank you.
No worries, mate. Congratulations on that. We'll move up to the winner of round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Cade Donnelly, mate. That didn't come easy, but at the end, nice, solid P1 position.
Yeah, she was a battle, mate. Sort of off the start, just sort of, you just weren't sure. I wasn't real sure where the tyres would be at, 20 laps in. So I thought I might just roll off here and pace myself and try and stay out of trouble.
Well, it worked for you. You were sitting on that inside line, one car back with probably about 5 or 6 laps to go. What was your thoughts going through your head on how you were going to make that move for the win, or were you just trying to let it all play out in front of you?
Yeah, look, I went up the inside there at one point and I knew what's his name in second place there, sorry. He was on the
Darren.
Yeah, sorry, Darren was on the outside and we had a bit of a rub, and I thought, I don't want it to end like this. So I just sort of thought I'll just let it was Ruben and Darren sort of mixing it up, and I thought, well, if they come together or rubbing up, then I might have a shot at it. And yeah, they were sort of, it was close to the end, so they were fair game. Everything was fair game. It just played into my hands all right, so I'll take it.
Raymond and Paul, over to you.
Yeah, so it was, I think, a little bit of a different night for you. Usually you're at the front most of the night and always there, but you sort of seem to be a little bit further back for most of the night tonight. Was that the plan, or was it just something that eventuated? Obviously ended up front, but yeah.
I had a good idea the tyres were going to drop pretty hard, and I wasn't quite sure how to drive it consistently and sort of maintain some grip, because we knew, well, everyone sort of was on the same assumption that we're going to have to do bulk laps. You know, we only one set of tyres, so it was all going to come down to a pit strategy, and, you know, so, yeah. I just let it drift back and see if I had pace towards the end of the tank.
I did notice earlier as well that you got into a little bit of an incident. I don't know exactly what happened, but I saw you got a little bit sideways at one point early in the race.
Yeah, so I was sort of just bashing it down into fifth and just letting it coast in without getting in on any brakes, just trying to look after the tyre. And it was probably slower going in, and I'm not sure who it was. Probably it would have appeared that I would have checked up pretty hard, which, you know, wasn't the intention, but that was just the way I was driving it tonight. And he clipped me and, yeah, got a bit sideways. Lucky that I held onto it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it was in the middle of the pack as well, so you did well not to hit anyone else, and a good job to keep it under control. And obviously, in the end, come out with the race win. So well done on that. And your Sim boys just keep wheeling out the results, mate.
Yeah, we're pushing, mate. Trying to, you know, get some results in the series. It's, you know, it's a good series. We enjoy being in it. So, you know, we want to try and put our cars up the front as best we can.
Well, mate, you're definitely doing that one. A couple of podiums from the Sim Boys cars in the last couple of races, so you're doing a great job, mate. But a shout-out for your win tonight. Anyone you want to have a shout-out to?
Just the Sim Boys, in particular, really, like just a good bunch of blokes to get around. And obviously, I've been a bit slack. I never said it in the last week, but you guys, obviously, for the broadcast and the guys that actually put the series on. So I'd like to say thanks.
No worries, mate. And from all of us at InterSim Esports Network and Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, a big congratulations on your P1. Go and have a beverage of your choice before you go to bed, mate. You deserve that one. And real quickly, we move into round 10 next week from Auto Club Speedway. How do you feel about Auto Club Speedway in the SUPERCAR?
I'll wait till Sunday, mate.
Probably the best way to be, mate. Just send it, as they say.
That's it.
No worries, mate. Well, we let you go, and we'll head across and check out the points table, the unofficial points table after round 9 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. So after we've just done 134 laps at Homestead Miami Speedway and Cade Donnelly being your leader, Justin Witcher is still up the front of the championship with 297 points. Troy Davidson moves up 2 spots into P2 with 271 points. Christopher Finlay moves down 1 into 3rd on 269 points after a really solid start to the season. Gary Wellman is now tied for 3rd on 269 points in 4th. Cade Donnelly 5th on 248 points. Raymond Yeager, who joined us in the booth as a guest tonight, has only moved down 1 spot to 6th on 228 points. So I'm sure you're happy about that one, Razor. 7th position, Darren McKenzie up 1 on 220 points. Greg Spencer is 8th on 215 points. Shannon Wright 9th on 208 points. And rounding out your top 10 after a solid top 6 finish tonight is Andy Barber on 206 points. As it scrolls through, ladies and gentlemen, you can have a look at where your favourite driver is. As you can see, the points are very, very close there. Pete Matson having a nice solid run, 11th on 198 points from Ray White, Rural Gander. So, Raymond, first night in the booth, did a sensational job, if I must not say, mate. Thank you so much for that. But Justin Witcher comes away from round 9 still leading the championship quite solidly with P2 and P3 changing. So it's ever changing at the front of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Yeah, Justin will be pleased to keep the lead of the championship. Obviously, tonight didn't go as he would have hoped, but you quickly notice by looking at it, the Sim boys are right there. There's 4 of them, like right on his tail. So should be a really interesting finish to the season, I think.
It should be. It should be. I'm really looking forward to Auto Club Speedway next week. It's one of my favourite tracks, whether it be in a truck, a cup car, or a supercar. So looking forward to bringing you all the action for round 10 from Auto Club Speedway on for the Australasian Supercar eSeries next week. Before we finally wrap up the broadcast, obviously we need to make a big shout out to the naming rights sponsor, Ray White Rural Gander, for allowing or being a part of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. So once again, as I always say, jump onto all their socials or websites, Google, etc. Find them if you're in the area and support them that support us through the iRacing community, of course, Witcher Electrics down there near Ballarat in Victoria. Justin Witcher, the leader of the championship, still after round 9, and AP Esports. We thank all those guys. Looking forward to next weekend on Sunday night at Auto Club Speedway. But before we get there, we go back NASCAR Cup Series racing for the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series. That is a tongue twister. We will bring round 7 to you live here on InterSim Esports Network next Friday night, and then we'll see you. We'll go back that. So we've got next Friday, the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series, round 7, here on the InterSim Esports Network, with a special event coming up next Sunday morning for you, which will be the race for Jake, as you can see on the screen there. So it's in memory of Jake McKenzie, who is Darren McKenzie's son, who finished second in this race. Very unfortunate. He lost one of his sons earlier, a week or so ago. So very unfortunate for that family, and our heart goes out to them and condolences to them. But in memory of Jake, and to give a little bit back to Darren, who gives so much to the iRacing community, the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Michael Shaw has come up with this fundraising event. So it'll be Sunday the 19th of September. It'll start at 10 a.m. practice. We'll go live from approximately 10:40 a.m. and bring you all the action of that. It is 80 laps at the Daytona International Speedway. Of course, you can donate if you are tuning in on this broadcast and would like to donate. You can see the link there. Jump on and donate. We are currently up to a very, very big number, which everyone involved in this is happy about. Whether you're racing, supporting, watching, have family or friends, and feel like you want to donate to Red Kite, do that. And as I said, all the money will go to Red Kite to support people in need that go through terrible times, as Darren and his family have. So we look forward to bringing that to you next Sunday. We're going to have a lot of special things in that next Sunday as well that we don't really do in our normal broadcast. So it's going to be a very, very special day for Darren and his family, and also us on the InterSim Esports Network to have the pleasure and honour to be able to bring that to you. So once we get all the emotion of that out of the way on Sunday morning, we'll be back right here on Sunday night to bring you the next round of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from the Auto Club Speedway. But Raymond, before I finish up quickly, once again, thank you so much for joining me in the booth, mate.
No, it's been good, mate. I've enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me come up and have a go.
Hopefully next time it's not because you had some equipment failure, mate, but you did a great job. Thank you so much. And Paul, as always, thank you. But from myself, Paul and Raymond, that is the next round 9 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries done and dusted. We'll see you next on Friday night for the next round of the Next Gen Cup Series for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Leagues. But from myself, Paul, Raymond, and everyone at the InterSim Esports Network, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on Friday night.